So in this video, we're going to look at abstract classes, and I'm going to read out what is here, then I'll explain it in simple English. An abstract class is one that cannot be instantiated, only inherited. Note that function definitions inside an abstract class must also be preceded by the keyword abstract. You cannot have abstract function definitions inside a non-abstract class. When inheriting from an abstract class, all methods marked abstract in the parent class declaration must be defined by the child. Additionally, these methods must be defined by the same class. Alright, so let us look at this in practical so that you can understand what it is. So to practicalize this, we're going to create a new file, and I'm just going to call it abstract.php. Alright, then when abstract.php opens, we're going to create an abstract class. So to create an abstract class, you just have to call it abstract. Use the keyword abstract, then you mention the name of the class, and let's say what class are we going to create? We are going to create a class called building. I'm just coming up with this idea now. An abstract class means simply you can't instantiate the class. Let's say remember what instantiation means. You can just do remember when we did something like physics and we did equal to new, then we mentioned the class name building. I remember when we did that. This is called instantiation. That is creating an instance of this class. So an abstract class is a class where you can't do this. You can only inherit it, which means you can only extend it. Let's say a new class of bungalow. You can say class bungalow extends building. Does it make sense now? So you can only do this to this class, but you can't instantiate building directly. You can only inherit it. You understand? The way we did with bungalow. This is a child class inheriting an abstract class. So whenever you see an abstract class, just know that this class is built in such a way that you can perform this operation. And there are instances where this thing is useful that they don't want you to be able to instantiate it. You understand? So now let us look at another thing. Abstract class, they just behave somehow like interfaces. They have functions that must be implemented by the class inheriting them. You understand what I mean? So in abstract classes, it's optional, unlike in interfaces. When we had interfaces, every function inside the interface, every function must be implemented by the child class. But in abstract, it is optional. So, but to determine which functions must be implemented, you have to start with abstract. So you can say abstract function. The first function of building is roof. So we can say roof. So once we have this, the next function, let's say this function, any function that is abstract must be implemented. So the next function we're going to try and implement now is a function on, let's say, just public function bricks, because we're trying to put up a building. So bricks, we can just put how many bricks number, just to tell you that the function must have the same signature. Alright, so if it is non-abstract, then of course it must contain a body. So this is what you have to note about abstract classes. So when it is abstract, when you have abstract in front of it, then you don't need a body. It's just a way to say that any class inheriting this class must implement this function, and of course optionally implement this. Alright, so as you can see, immediately we have abstract here. This one is already throwing an error, and look at what the error says. It says class bungalow contains one abstract method and must therefore be declared abstract or implement the remaining methods. You understand? So that is where we have to now do a public function roof, and we're good. So you see, it works now. The error is gone. So because we have implemented this, and this is optional, so that's just basically what abstraction means in object-oriented programming. Any abstract class can only be inherited but cannot be instantiated. And I want you to take note of how it is defined. Unlike when we're dealing with interfaces, we just did interface class, you understand? But in abstract, we're saying abstract class building. So the keyword abstract is not replacing class, you understand? So this is what it means basically. There is nothing there. Every other thing works exactly the way you have in interfaces, alright? So thank you very much for watching this. Like I said, towards the ending of this course, after I've introduced all these concepts, we're going to use them to build something basic with HTML and PHP so you understand.